Superman, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend steel in his bare hands, and who fights a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way.
Superman was created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster in 1933. They were 17-year-old high school kids at the time in Cleveland, Ohio. For about 5 years, they struggled to get Superman published, but comic books were very new at the time, and nobody wanted to really take a chance in such a fantastic idea and such a new medium. But in 1937, DC Comics decided to take a chance on Superman, and so they signed a contract with Siegel and Shuster. The contract has become since sort of infamous because DC Comics paid Siegel and Shuster $130 for the rights to Superman. Then Superman took off like a rocket, and he really didn't share proportionally in the profits. So they finally got very disenchanted with the situation. They sued DC Comics in 1947 for the rights to Superman, and they were unsuccessful, and of course immediately Siegel and Shuster were fired.
One of the things that Tom Andrae and I discovered from two different areas, his from the Superman area and mine from Jewish humor and popular culture, was the Jewish strongman Zsa Zsa Breitbart. Breitbart was one of the first great Jewish popular culture characters of Europe and then North America, who billed himself as the Superman of the ages. And he was the first great popular hero for most Jews, including my father, who was exactly the same age as Siegel and Shuster. What was unusual about Breitbart was his theatricality and his special look that kind of resembles Superman in some ways. What's interesting is that Breitbart, when he came to North America in 1923, traveled west to Cleveland, exactly where Siegel saw him, and Breitbart advertised himself as the Superman of the ages. And by 1923-24, he set up his own bodybuilding empire, and the Telegraph identification was Superman. It's likely that it's Breitbart that stuck in the imaginations of Siegel and Shuster in a very, very strong way as a costumed superhuman character using the name Superman.
Before the lawsuit, they had created another character called Funnyman, which was a clown superhero. Funnyman was based upon the comedian Danny Kaye, who was a film star and nightclub comedian.
It looks like pulmonary morphosis. It strikes without warning. You'll be coming to your office one day and then suddenly... Then you'll be all right for a few days. And then...
And after they lost Superman in 1947, ME Comics published Funnyman. Funnyman is always more vulnerable than the villains he fights, who are big, muscular guys. He has to combat the villains with jokes and pranks, and he's usually at a disadvantage. And from the beginning, it was pretty much a failure. It started out as a comic book and did not sell very well. It only lasted about 6 issues. They tried him in comic strips for another year and sort of went into oblivion. Siegel and Shuster also never worked together again, and their names were stricken from the Superman strip, and they received no royalties for almost 30 years.
With Funnyman, they were trying to do something closer at home. That when they created the idea in 1947, it was a time of high anxiety for American Jews. The entire Roosevelt era ended in 1944, the hero for almost all Jews. So for the first time, anti-Semitism jumped and continued for several years. It was during the creation of Israel, and the American public was greatly distracted and not much interested in these specific Jewish problems. In the Middle East itself, it looked like Israel couldn't survive. There were 5 armies invaded it on its first day of independence. So it was a strange time to create a Jewish superhero. One of the things that I tried to establish in Funnyman, how it's part of the continuum of Jewish humor, which is a very specific kind of comic tradition that's unlike almost any other kind in Europe or North America. And Funnyman begins to use this as a defense mechanism of humor to overturn criminals and black marketeers and con artists. So Siegel and Shuster, without using the word Jewish, began to use Yiddishisms to signal to many of their audiences and maybe to themselves. Yiddishisms like no goodnik or Pierre Blintz, and self-defense mechanisms through wisecracking and humor and slapstick and the like.
So it's really a new discovery, I think, and I think people will be pleasantly surprised by it.
Superman, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend steel in his bare hands, and who fights a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way.